directed that 152 staff that were in CAA illegally be discontinued with those that appointed them. How far is that directive? Are those 152 staff working? What is the status of those that appointed them illegally? Are they still working in CAA? Are they still receiving taxpayers' money? With all that fraud, what's going on? Finally, I want to ask something very small. You guys, is a procurement officer here? The minister is a procurement person and a director general. Now, I'm privy to information that you have. Sorry, this microphone has an issue. I'm privy to information that your procurement officer came from UDC, had a case. The case was dismissed all through up to Court of Appeal. So just the case was taken to Court of Appeal and it was dismissed all over. Is indiscipline transferable in public service? Do you leave one place, then you go to another place? Did you investigate the appointment? If you did, may we please have a copy of because everything in any entity starts with a procurement, isn't it? So I want to know how far, what happened? Did the board approve? If board approved, did they know that this person had left some other entity and was in court? What was the status? No, that goes with the 152. Otherwise, I want to thank you who have not had any scandals at the airport. Listen. Thank you. Those ones are ladies. Yeah, it is important that an entity like CAA has the right person doing the right thing at the right time. That's where I started. So I want to know the status of your ED. And I want you to inform this committee because I don't want to keep even next year or next financial year to be talking to someone in acting position. I don't want to talk about whether she's able or not able. That is for another day. The other issue that I want to know is I heard you have a project called by Sharjah Chamber of Commerce.
Let me just phrase, because I know there's media, just to phrase it for the benefit of the committee, his earlier question. In short, what he's asking is what is the legal status of your Director General's absence?
Chair, you have guided well, but the other member was saying...
I'll just summarize the question. Of course,
whether the deputy ED is able or not.
He was
because
I'm sure there are
time
terms
comes from across the land.
No. I'm sure there are terms for someone to be on leave. I'm sure it's financial and legal. So the question is simple: what is the legal status of the absence of your Director General? That's what the committee is asking. For almost a year. Honorable, you can proceed.
Parliament approved a multi-year project to construct different things at the airport. At one time we were here and the fuel hydrant was taken out of the multi-year project plan and subcontracted to someone during COVID. We accepted. Now we have a new person, Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, wants to construct a multi-story parking. Why? Have we failed on our own income? Parking working is something that does not even need to be subcontracted to someone, because you construct and you start meeting the next day. It is one of the things that I know CAA is getting profits and is making money for CAA. Why are you choosing to subcontract it out to somebody? Does it mean you don't have money? Is it worth it to give it to somebody to build, operate it, and transfer it after 30 years? Is it a triple P? Is it a PPP? What is it? Under what framework are you coming up with this? We already have money approved. Money that actually you have not even spent. I think you have spent 200 and something. You have a balance of around 125 million to come and see how to get it from here. You're already rushing to subcontract someone something that is profitworthy. Why don't you subcontract something that you have failed? Outsourcing is for what you have failed to work on, not what you're able to do. Have you realized there is money here? Then fetch yourself a contractor and you want to get the money yourselves? So the issue of giving out the same thing happens to the lodge. Have you failed to construct a VIP lodge? And you're handing it over to the same person to build, operate, and transfer. These are places where we can actually just, because we have debt with the Chinese. Almost $1 trillion plus. Now, these are the places that we are supposed to get money, and we are going ahead to also subcontract them. Yet we can able use that loan, construct these places, then start getting money from there, and we pay back the loan. Am I saying something? Am I speaking English?
Yes, of course you are.
I thought I was
saying something.
I was. Now, the other status I would want to know. The president directed that 152 staff that were in CAA illegally be discontinued with those that appointed them. How far is that directive? Are those 152 staff working? What is the status of those that appointed them illegally? Are they still working in CAA? Are they still receiving taxpayers' money with all that fraud? What's going on? Finally, I want to ask something very small. You guys, is the procurement officer here? The minister is a procurement person. And the director general. Now, I'm privy to information that you have, sorry, this microphone has an issue. I'm privy to information that your procurement officer came from UDC, had a case. The case was dismissed all through up to Court of Appeal. So just the case was taken till Court of Appeal and it was dismissed all over. Is indiscipline transferable in public service? Do you leave one place, then you go to another place? Did you investigate the appointment? If you did, may we please have a copy of because everything in any entity starts with a procurement, isn't it? So I want to know how far, what happened? Did the board approve? If board approved, did they know that this person had left some other entity and was in court? What was the status? No, that goes with the 152. Otherwise, I want to thank you who have not had any scandals at the airport. lucid. Thank you.
Those ones are.
They said despite training and having other stuff in place, performance still remains at 67.3%. So I think the honorable colleague is right to ask that question. And we need to be curious. Even me, I have two questions to ask, similar but not the same on that line. I beg to submit.
Chair, just very briefly, we have been further interrogating this document, and on pages 11 and page 30, specifically we're just looking at, we're trying to calculate the return on investment. Director of Finance, in addition to the questions I asked you, last year you grew by about 1.8%, 2025-2026. Based on your presentation, to 346 billion. On page 30, you are making a projection of total revenue of 402 billion. Now, that is a projection of about 16.2% from 1.8%. When you try to calculate it, it's giving you about, you want to increase by 780% from 1.8 to 16.2% in 1 year. I'm just curious to know, could you just explain the assumptions that are underpinning this projection? And also, if you could talk about I know the ED talked about the passenger growth rate, the tariff adjustments you're having, but could you just explain the projections that are underpinning this? And then lastly, Chair, for me, it's just an in-house issue, a matter of detail. When I look at this presentation, it has so many fonts and font sizes. And it speaks a lot about the people you have who are doing some of these presentations. So I think that the next presentation is an issue of detail. The next presentation, please, let's have people who have done some PowerPoint and the rest do for us something that is presented on the quality like that. Thank you very much.
But in as far as the CAA growing, still debatable.
Chair, just very briefly, we have been further interrogating this document, and on pages 11 and page 30, specifically we're just looking at, we're trying to calculate the return on investment. Director of Finance, in addition to the questions I asked you, last year you grew by about 1.8%, 2025-2026, based on your presentation, to 346 billion. On page 30, you are making a projection of total revenue of 402 billion. Now, that is a projection of about 16.2% from 1.8%. When you try to calculate it, it's giving you about, you want to increase by 780% from 1.8 to 16.2% in 1 year. I'm just curious to know, could you just explain the assumptions that are underpinning this projection? And also, if you could talk about I know the ED talked about the passenger growth rate, the tariff adjustments you're having, but could you just explain the projections that are underpinning this? And then lastly, Chair, for me, it's just an in-house issue, a matter of detail. When I look at this presentation, it has so many fonts and font sizes. And it speaks a lot about the people you have who are doing some of these presentations. So I think that the next presentation is an issue of detail. The next presentation, please, let's have people who have done some PowerPoint and the rest do for us something that is presented on the quality like that. Thank you very much.
But in as far as the CAA growing, still debated, which means within a period of about 6 months, your debt has accumulated about 100 billion extra. So what will happen in December?
Thanking you for doing a good job. You have tried. You have come from very far. Because that airport used to be one of the smallest and not organized. But my question is, somebody talked about the airworthiness of some of these airports that are operating in Uganda. I saw the deputy speaker, what happened to him. With my own eyes, I saw we were lucky that they were Ugandans and they survived. What if they were really like guests in this country? What picture would we have? 2, you are relying on at times on government subventions, but you are too shy to say what you want. This is the disease with the Minister of Works, by the way. They all too shy to say you should be having your wishful list. For example, these people paid for a piece of land for expansion. This 2.something billion to Naguri.
Around 2.4.
You have kept what? These new members must get to know that you paid for land for expansion, 2.5 billion as you are talking, to Naguri. Naguri was supposed to report in Wakiso. They have never done it. That is government to government. Why can't we do it? Not a minister. Because you're talking of expansion, you don't have the land. And another issue is this, when we are well out, especially most of us members of parliament, we go through the right thing. You can see how good it is. But there are quite a number of Ugandans who would want to have that type of, place and pay for it. That's why other airports get money. You pay money and you go into that, you can have a separate one. Because when you go to this old airport, I know it's reserved for our visitors, but I remember especially you old people who have been there. When we were doing it living in Chogam, we knew that we would cater for the internal flights. Then the other one continues. So that you can avoid, when you are internal, you avoid that security check, the harbors. But that one has been taken over by the government, and you are not paid, and you are shy. The people who owe you money, the biggest I think is Minister of Foreign Affairs, isn't it? And Minister of Works. Can you imagine Minister of Works? And they can't pay their own baby. Because you are shy. Tell us what you feel for
I
you.
don't know what measure you used to determine the shyness.
No, I know. I have been with these people for long, you remember. One time we went to Kabarega. We are going with these people they take us a tour to Kabarega, this airport. We kept getting calls. We are there. We found nobody there. The committee toured around, were helpless. They are even refused access to that airport. That's how shyness comes in. Because why should Foreign Affairs owe you money? And Minister of Works and they don't pay. And you continue giving them services. Put up a good case. Put up a good case. So that you can get money to expand and be a good airport. So far so good, me, I'm impressed because we have come very far. But the issue of convincing, like we talked to German, we have talked to PP, public-private partnership. You should be sourcing for those people to help us and cut on their costs. Otherwise, I am grateful. He mentioned of the issue of Umbarara. The president talked about it. To me, I'm sorry, it is fake. The people who are always looking for it, they are not genuine people. No matter the desires of having investors, we can't have these people who are fake, who would eventually take our piece of land in Sharara and run away and sell it to other people. So this matters, we are really very anxious to have so many investors. Let's do a bit of due diligence. And you talk to the president about it. Because you are troubled very widely. Whenever I'm on the flight, I normally you find somebody from civil aviation. You see how other airports are operating. So far so good, but we need to move quickly for it. I thank you.
Honorable, about 3 billion. I know the one in Barara. I just know you are doing slashing. I don't know what else you are doing. Maybe utilities. Maybe you can inform the committee of what this 3 billion is doing. Slashing is seasonal, it's like a grasshopper. But maybe you can help us understand. Also, you are in charge, you're all within the Ministry of Works, CAA and Ministry of Works. What have you done to ensure we have a train connecting to the airport to decongest the road? And lastly, have you received any PPP from anyone to partner with us in developing the regional airports? Because I know about Marathon is also a white elephant, it's an issue for another day. But have you received any other, a person, an investor, come and help us? The members are not asked. I want
to add my voice on Anai Airfield or airport in Lira. I want to ask, does the authority have land in Anai for Lira Airfield or airport? Because in Lira they are calling it airport, and it is a daily debate on the radio stations there. And if you do have it, the land, is this land titled? If it does, when was the title got? Because the title I saw, it is obtained in 2025. And it includes even the Tamaka Road from Apache going to there. It passes, it goes beyond the road. So meaning the road is part of the land for the airfield. I would like to get that from you. Then lastly, from me, you have businesses which are unfinished on slide 13. I would like you to list 12 of them, maybe in the report you will bring. And I would also want to ask, in the financial year 2025-2026, were these businesses unfinished, budgeted for? If they were budgeted for, I am asking, where is the money, the fund that were allocated to that? Chairperson, I want to thank you.
It's not that he's giving it to the president as a gift. Did they say they are giving a gift to the president? Where? They didn't say. So I was asking, what framework is it? Is it build, operate, and transfer, or build and transfer to the president? Because we don't understand what framework you want to. Just you could brief us.
International airport. I want to raise a matter mostly on the land that was paid for to Maif on average to relocate. I remember there was about 2.43 billion that was paid to Madrid. That was around the 20th of August 2019. And from that point to Nagrid. So up to now we are not seeing Nagrid transfer to the land we paid for them in Wakiso. So I want to ask, what are the challenges that's making you fail or making Nagrid fail to transfer to the land yet the money was paid? Was a background check done to that land before that we can have these challenges? Because we need to, expand. AFCON is coming next year. So will we be able to handle all the volume? And then what efforts have been made to hold meetings between Uganda, UCAA and my infant agri, what options do we have in case this is not going to happen? Because 2019 up to now shows there is no compliance in us getting that land for extension. Then the other bit I will leave it to my brother, but I want to ask, how are we prepared for the AFCO? You know, which will be having a lot of visitors, and then these airships. How are we prepared? I really want to know. I want to pass my other single time, and the other question I wanted to ask to my colleague.
My name once again is Uchen Geoffrey, Member of Parliament for Kyoga North. I've read the report, especially in areas of challenges. I've noted that the organization faces high capital burden that has made it difficult for them to accelerate infrastructural development, and is noted in one of its challenges. So I wanted to find out whether they are engaging in, why can't they engage in public-private partnership to help them reduce those capital burden and also accelerate infrastructural development as they have stated in their report. And then also too, I've seen they have put their revenue projection for financial year 2026-2027. But they have not clearly indicated their strategies to make them achieve their projected figures. So my question is, what guarantee should we have that you are going to meet the target? And should you fail to meet the target, should we treat that you have given us unrealistic figures that you are unable to attain, and therefore the competencies in managing the organization should be questioned? And then 3, whereas in the last financial year you attained some surplus, I would want to know the strategies you have in place to improve operational efficiency, diversify your operation, and then increase on your surplus for this financial year. And then 3, in one of your challenges, you're also crying about limited land for expansion, but also their land, especially for Anai in Lira, although it had some challenges, I wanted to find out, did you have the title before, or because you are saying the community has encroached and other people, what plan do you have in place to have that matter fully sorted? And then lastly, we have aviation schools like Soroti Flying School and maybe others. Are those aviation schools within your statutory mandate? If so, what plans do you have to ensure that they meet the international aviation standards and also help train competent personnel internally within the country? Thank you.
The net surplus of about 18.2 billion, which is about a 43% decline. So I don't know what you are talking about. Honorable Semamana, you are.
Now, you Ugandans,
You are not like us here. I'm a member of parliament, paid by government. If I mess up my portfolio, at least it will not result into death. You guys, you are managing a machine that fly in the air. You are responsible for a civil aviation authority that manages aircrafts and human beings that get in the air. So this country has very qualified personnel. If we really you had 89 or 90 people that had flocked into the organization, how can we be sure, the statement actually the chairman touched on, that even you are very qualified? How can we be sure? I don't know whether it is within our mandate here as a committee to start asking for, we are really very sorry about this, asking, apart from Honorable Minister, Deputy Executive Director and others, how did they enter? Those guys 89 in Uganda, how did they enter the organization? Infiltration or what? How did they get recruited? You people, where do you want to take this country? Civil aviation must be managed by competent and qualified people. If it is an engineering department, the documents must be verified from recognized institutions in this world. You are not like an MP, me here, an MP I can mess up because I'm managing social political things. But civil aviation, you are managing the rights of Ugandans and other people. So, now, Mr. Chairman, if it doesn't break our rules, we are going to ask for the qualification from MD. Yes. And how you go to recruiting. How did you enter civil aviation also? Like the honorable MP from Wima, the document was talking about the helicopter. Is it a helicopter? Is it an aeroplane?
Yes, aeroplane.
But he said it belongs to the army.
So the entire top management of CAA is requested to submit their academic qualifications not later than tomorrow. I believe you have these. Are you going to look for them as well?
Chair, we won't look for them because I wanted to add that following the forgery, the entire civil aviation members of staff have been verified. The verification has been at UNEB and has been at all the universities, whether in Uganda or outside Uganda, and that report is available.
That is good.
And the second one, Chair, going forward, all staff that are being recruited today, the process has to be done before. So we are saying there was a problem.
Deputy Director General, we were not requesting. We were instructing you to submit these qualifications not later than tomorrow at 6 p.m. We're also going to request you to submit the report of the action taken and all these 89 people who are believed to have forged academic qualifications and at which level did they forge, but most importantly your action taken report, and it will inform the committee on when to invite you now for a more thorough interaction on this matter.
Chair, supplementary, just one. We have seen where they have said someone has worked 90% completion of the project on page 14, and that person has not been paid. Why do they get paid contractors up to that when someone has worked up to 90%? We would also require them to bring the status report of the ongoing projects.
Is this part of the issue we are handling?
It is part of their report, but supplementary to the documents which they can come with, because it is very important.
Okay, but normally get to that point at the end, but you can finish.
Thank you. The status of the ongoing projects, their sources of funding, how much so far they have been able to pay some of these contractors, and their project scope, when they are going to be time scope, when they are going to be completed, so that we avoid the mistakes of making contractors do work, complete them without being paid. because someone is demanding 1.28 billion for civil aviation authority.
Okay.
So,
I hope it's also not a document.
These 89 people would have had some of them who are working in key positions, technical positions, making decisions such as approvals of licenses, airworthiness of aircraft. We also need in that action taken report a status of the decisions or a review of the decisions that these people took. If somebody approved a license, for example, for an aircraft, then we need to ensure that those decisions have been reviewed, whether to find out whether they are still valid or they were invalid. Because if they were not qualified, then validity of the actions and the decisions that they took need also to be reviewed, especially the critical decisions. So it would be important in the action taken report, they clearly clarify whether they have reviewed some of the critical decisions that those persons who are not qualified took, and whether they are still valid, whether they need to be reviewed and reconsidered.
So as you said,
To give that information, we'll share with you, but sensitive information.
Honorable Nagato, are you comfortable now? Being security sensitive,
I'm comfortable, but being security sensitive, we should also put in mind the security, the safety of our people. Where
Is this a commercial flight?
The airlines matter a lot.
what is the status of this flight? Is it a commercial, a cargo?
Chair, it is not, it is not.
It's not cargo and it's not passenger.
It's not passenger.
What is it?
We will find out the usage on what it's being
Of course. Okay, but once they are done with that investigation, they will analyze the documents, because it is two-sided. Who employed them? Much as they believe they have been terminated, there is also the person who employed an entire department actually that participated in the employment. We'll end up looking for the adverts. How are these jobs advertised? Where were they advertised? Who was part of that committee that vetted? So it's a very, we cannot take a recommendation now. This is a topic that will be handled on a separate day. Honorable P, your last.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. He has been around and when he has gone for treatment for the past 1 year.
Chair, I request that will be part of the report, because the DHRA will then go into the report and be able to share it with you if it's accepted.
Okay. Can we proceed?
As they submit, they should submit even the advert. If it was not there, then they say how. The advert will specify how he came and the qualifications. Because right now, because of maybe change of knowledge, then they want somebody now to be deputy, to be having a PhD. But
to meeting the authority again, I recommend that they come with some of the following documents. 1, human resource documents and human resource audit versus ICAO.
Because of their deputies, because in their absence, the deputies takes over. And to me, when you read the Penal Code Act 343, it spells out the penalties for someone who forges the document. So I think the other 87 who already fall as the culprits of this forgery of these documents, they can be handed over to police for further management, because the punishment does not only stop on being dismissed. I submit.
That is a recommendation.
Once made a comment that air transport is the safest means of transport on the earth. But should anything go wrong, and he stopped there, these are the circumstances under which something can go wrong. I think let's recommend the entire staff auditing, human resource auditing. At the appropriate time, we'll come and discuss the report. Thank you.
And it's within our procedure to ask for any document that you may think is necessary. If it's the members' wish, we can ask for the qualifications of the entire CAA. I don't know I know it's from the DG, but to where?
Chair, proposal.
Yes. Honorable question.
I want to propose that the 8 staff that were dismissed over forgery, be handed over to CID for appropriate investigation and prosecution.
They will tell us what.
Chair, in addition to that, I just want to re-emphasize, before we begin any process, I really want to emphasize, I've been in HR for the last 17 years, and I think the director HR has failed on a very basic requirement of simply doing background checks. So Chair, I really want to propose and emphasize, I want to emphasize that before we begin any process, let the HR director first be put on category before any process begins. I thank you.
Chair, I wouldn't go that way, Chair.
Fred.
I don't think you are going to get the response now
Chairman,
without any HR department being present.
Chairman,
Chair, just an emphasis.
just a proposal.
Just a minute, Deputy.